Hackers are inevitable. Security is a delusion. An attack is a surprise. The attacker likes it and the victim doesn't. Every story has two sides, just like every coin. Unless you live on a planet with spherical coins. Never mind. Security is considered to be the most underrated domain, and hackers are always underrated. So I'm here to discuss great things we hackers do. And this is Hacker Bytes. Hackers. People generally understand us as wizards with mystical powers to manipulate things normal people cannot. We are sometimes also considered as revolutionists on keyboard, and with every single click, they suppose us to change the digital reality. That's weird. But the real question I have oftenly, or I ask myself, is this: are we really worth all this melodramatic persona? I guess we are not. I think we're not. But the point here is what we do. Definitely we are not magicians, for God's sake. We are no Doctor Strange with some eye of Agamotto to hack some things, that's not how it works clearly. You can consider us as normal people with ability to use computers, and we perform different kind of tasks with methodologies and with different ways that they're not supposed to work with. That's what a hack is about. Something that was not supposed to work in a way, but we made it work that way, and that's how it happened. That's how it was manipulated, or it was modified in a way. That's what major league hackers do, right? But in the life scenario, we have different cases when most of the times people do confuse hacking and cybercrime altogether. They take it as the same term, which is technically not correct. Take it this way. If you talk about secret agents, right, and then you talk about terrorists, they both are not the same, right? Same way, when we talk about ethical hackers, ethical hackers, first of all, is a very, very wrong term in itself. I prefer the term cybersecurity analysts or cybersecurity researchers, you can say. So, in short, we call them cybersec people. So, we cybersec people are completely different from what people think of the cyber criminals. What we do is we get paid for our skill set, the kind of skills we have in order to protect digital reality. In a way, you can say that, or by implementing such kind of security measures, or by finding or reporting some bugs. That's what we do, right? But the point is that why there is this negative thing in people's mind that the hacking is a bad thing or a hacker is a bad guy. This is all I find it funny sometimes that movies are also taking a really movies are also playing a very big role in setting up this kind of a mindset in people, because in most of the time in movies what we see is a bad guy or maybe an evil guy or something like that with a hoodie, with a black hoodie. I don't know why there is a black hoodie always, and he sits in a corner hacking into somebody's account, checking their face cams. I agree, people like this are there. I agree with that. But at the same time, there are good people as well, They're good hackers. Hacking is not always illegitimate, or hacking somebody's webcams. It's not all about that. Hacking is a very big term to use. And I personally feel ethical hacker is a very broadly exploited term these days, because new people joining into cybersecurity community are really being derailed or confused with what exactly they are dealing with. They don't know what exactly is ethical hacking. I'll tell you a scenario right now. Like I'm being training. I have been training a few people recently, and they are all newcomers in the field of cybersecurity. And all what they ask me now after completing their course is that what are the job opportunities for ethical hackers? That's the kind of mindset they're having as of now, because they are not aware of this thing, that who exactly they are. That's a real problem, because they don't know themselves what to search for, what to look for, basically, when they talk about cybersecurity in general. Like, they want jobs, they want to work for companies, they want to do the real stuff, but they don't know how to look for it. That's funny, because when you are into something, you should be knowing about the complete domain. People oftenly ask me, like, there are a lot of newcomers. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the newcomers, but they are not, they don't have the proper knowledge, they don't have the proper information about what they're dealing with. They right away ask me, like, I'm a newcomer and how should I start with bug bounty? That's quite funny, and I'm pretty sure some people who are into this domain for a long time must be getting these kind of messages and spam. I would rather say they must be flooded in their inboxes, as I'd like to say that. Personally, I am, and it's not like it messed me up or it just like makes me angry. It's just that I am done with these kind of questions, because at this sort of time we should shed up some light on the domain. I mean, starting up with the bug bounties, I would not prefer, would be a great idea when you are starting up in cybersecurity, because cybersecurity is not all about finding bugs in websites, and it's not that easy either. If you know about the domain in a broader spectrum, there are, as I like to explain, there are basically four major pillars cybersecurity is based on. First of all, we talk about system architecture and design. Second comes the networking methodologies. Third, I put up programming, like basic coding and stuff. And fourth, I would rather say the social engineering. Fourth topic here, social engineering, is the most neglected thing ever taught in cybersecurity. So yeah, these are basically the four pillars I understand that makes the complete dome of cybersecurity, I would like to say. So the point is, when we talk about whenever I talk to newcomers, like, I don't get much chance, but whenever I get a chance to have a one-on-one conversation or maybe a group conversation, I like to explain this to them, that whatever they're doing is very directionless and not planned at all, and unplanned activities often lead to demotivation or no results at all, which of course leads to demotivation again, and hence they have a bad they often get bad feeling about this whole thing happening with them. So it's better to plan things first. You should be understanding what exactly you're dealing with, so you should be focusing on these four things initially. You should learn, like, how basically a system works. You have to understand the mechanism of the kernel, of the BIOS, like how exactly your system is actually working. If you know the in and out, then you know where to exploit, basically, right? You should know how the communication takes place. There are multiple ways of communication, there are multiple protocols for that, how networking works, basically, right? You should be able to understand that. Like, if you're connecting to a wireless connection, or you use your subway metro pass, like how RFID works, how your Bluetooth connectivity works, like, you should be able to understand these things if you want to hack them, right? Another thing, we talk about programming. Like, I've seen thousands of posts showing up that you don't need to be a programmer if you want to be a hacker, which is, I personally think, is completely bullshit. Because what I personally understand, it's very, like, commonly used term with the people who are into cybersec, that if you know how to make it, you know how to break it. Right. So yeah, that's a thing. If you know how a thing is made, like, if I am given a chair and if I am asked that, okay, go ahead and break the chair, if I don't know how it is made, I won't be able to find a weak spot, and I'll keep putting my efforts on different spots, and it will take longer time, obviously longer time and efforts. But if I have made the chair myself, if I know the in and out and all the joints and everything else about the chair, I will know the vulnerabilities and I will hit on the same spot where I know it will break. So this way, basically, I reverse engineered the whole process, and then I found out that this is the way. The second way is a better way, basically, to exploit something, to perform a hack, I would have to say. Uh, so yeah, what I was saying is that you should know programming. You should know how things are made up of, what things are basically made up of. Like if you are hacking into software or maybe reverse engineering one, you need to understand the basic assembly codes, the registers and everything else. If you are talking about buffer overflows, you need to know C++, C sharp, C language basically. And if you talk about Python programming, you should know how to develop tools on the spot, on the go. Ruby exploits are on the role as well. So yeah, you should be able to understand the code basically. So yeah, programming is a real near the R for every newcomer who is getting into cybersecurity domain. At least learn 5 to 6 programming languages so that you have a diversity of binary codes that you can understand basically. So yeah, that's the third thing. And the fourth thing is social engineering. It's not about fooling people, it's about having your own mindset. When you are hacking into something, you should be able to strategize the complete process, because what I have seen is that people do know how to hack a RFID communication, or they do know how to perform evil twin attacks or wireless attacks, cafe latte or something like that, and they do know about various web application exploits. But the problem is that the main point is that they don't basically know how to perform a hack. It's not about only exploiting a vulnerability. It's about when you're targeting a system or a person, you should know how to strategize the attack. That's the major thing, because this is majorly taught when you are learning penetration testing, and when you're learning this thing recently called red teaming. And this is also taught when you learn about offensive approach towards pen testing, basically, like when you're actually exploiting things, breaking things down, getting into firewalls and disabling and stuff like that. So yeah, red teaming is something that is on the roll these days, and this is where it is being taught that how to strategize an attack. So when we tell people about, when we teach, I have been like teaching to a lot of guys these days. I have been like teaching, I've been giving them training on for CEH examination, ECSA, and these are theory based exams, and they don't really teach you how to strategize or how to actually perform pen testing. They give you enough theoretical knowledge and give you enough insight about the whole domain, but ECSA practical is a good option if you want to learn the practical implementation. But the point is that every course have this own uniqueness, and these courses are not really these certifications are not really giving you the proper information you require, I would rather say. I have a bit disappointment in me for these certifications, that they don't really give you the actual information, the actual knowledge which is required to understand the cybersecurity domain. Certified ethical hackers gives you a certification, basically you can say a badge that you are a hacker, but you actually don't know what hacking is. Not even, I would rather say, you just know 10 to 15% of the domain, right? So I don't know if you agree or disagree with it. Please let me know if you disagree or agree with a valid reason. I would like to I'll appreciate some good feedback from you guys. I might be wrong, but as of now I think I'm right, and I have this disappointment. But so yeah, I'm not saying that EC Council is inefficient in what they do, but this is just a disappointment with the kind of syllabus they have. I would rather say OSCP is also like a bit biased with what they are teaching, because they're only teaching the offensive part of the cybersecurity, because they're only telling you how you can, how to basically It's all basically based on CDFs. What I say, capture the flag machines. That's all they teach. They teach you offensive pen testing, right? So yeah, what I was telling you is that you should have the mindset. That's where we started, right? I got a bit derailed. It is a bit of my disappointments with things these days. So yeah, how you should have the mindset. Basically, you should know how to strategize what you're gonna do. So a social engineering is a thing that you will require always when you are performing a hack. So these four things you should sharpen enough that when you are learning cybersecurity, you should know these four, and that's when you learn the advanced stuff, like whatsoever you want to learn. If you want to go into hardware hacking, or maybe into reverse engineering, or maybe wireless attacks, or whatsoever, whatever sounds good to you, whatever attracts you. So, yeah, that's about it. So, the reason for today's podcast is to make you people aware of the cybersecurity domain, to make you understand what you're dealing with, what you're getting into, and to share some of my own opinion, my um, personal experiences, and to answer some of your queries, FAQs, and everything. And I really hope I was able to do that. I know like the content is a bit short for this one, but there's a real good content lined up for some next podcast we are working on, and you can expect some real good case studies and scenarios from the domain and some people from the cybersecurity industry as well. So, yep, we'll be having some good content. And this is all for today. I'm your host, Akash Sharma, aka Terabyte, and this is Hacker Bytes. Don't forget to follow SECARMY for more content. Signing off.